What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? We are back here for another one. As always, it's your boy Reason here. And tonight I am joined by a very special guest. I'm in fact honored to be joined by this man. And I'm sorry for the tardiness. We were just shooting it backstage, and he's an absolute pleasure to just talk ball with. So tonight my guest is the co-owner of Per4orm Sports, and he's also the director of performance, I believe is the other title. Mr. Nick Hicks, how are you doing tonight? And I appreciate you for coming on, sir.
I'm good, man. Hey, that intro was legit. It got me
Thanks,
jacked
bro.
up for football season, man. I loved it.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe when I update it, we're gonna put you a little slide of you in there too.
Yeah,
Don't
let's do
worry.
it, man. Let's do it.
Man, I'm just so I'm honestly honored to have you on tonight.
I
Just like
appreciate you having me, man.
talking ball with you was just honestly just for those 15 minutes before we started was really enjoyable, man. And guys, we weren't just talking to her, just so you know.
Yeah.
But let's start off. Could you just explain everyone, to the viewers out there, we got over 150 people in the room and it's growing right now. What you guys do with athletes over at Per4orm. I know the 4 in Per4orm represents speed, strength, agility, and endurance, but just could you give us an overview of what you guys do there over at Per4orm?
Yeah, absolutely. So we train athletes ages 6 to professional level. But we also train regular fitness clients. We do rehabilitation, we do recovery. We do offsite team training for high school teams. We do offsite team training for college teams. We literally do everything under the sun training. So, whether you want to lose weight, my gym is for you. What if you want to work on your speed and during the off season, my gym is for you. Whether you're coming off of an injury, my gym is for you. So that's really what we do. And again, like I said, ages 6 all the way to the pro level. We do NFL combine. We obviously do NFL off season. We've done NBA pre-draft before. So, and it's not just football. I mean, we train every single sport.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's amazing, bro. What got you into the business and made you so passionate and devoted to helping develop elite athletes and just help them take their games to the next level and, build guys up in terms of from a confidence level to believing in themselves the way they do?
Yeah. So growing up, I was a pretty good athlete. I played every sport. I actually played quarterback. I'm from South Florida. I went to American Heritage Plantation, graduated 2007. And as a sophomore, I tore my ACL. And then I tore it again 7 months later after they said I was cleared. So I retore my ACL twice in high school. And then I actually went and played college football up in Chicago and tore my ACL out there. So my entire football career, I apologize, was just like a repetitive cycle of rehab. And I kind of just fell in love with, not really fell in love with it then. It was more so like an obsession, like, okay, what do I got to do to prevent this from happening, to get back on the field at 100%, and just kind of, understand the body and basically how it moves in space and why does my knee tear, non-contact, while these other guys out here are making cuts just as strong as I am. So when that obsession, was into my brain, it became more towards a passion. And I changed my major from broadcast communications to exercise science and kinesiology in college. And then after I graduated, man, I was training a arena football team in Chicago called the Chicago Rush. So I was training those guys for a year, but living in Chicago is cold, man. And I wanted to come back home. It was to a warm state. So I actually got a job at St. Thomas University in Miami Gardens, right down the street from the Dolphins facility, which is, pretty ironic, I guess, if you look at it. And, I was there for 2.5 years, and then I opened up my own gym in Fort Lauderdale. Then I sold that gym to my former business partner. Then I opened up Per4orm. We're going on 5 years now at Per4orm. So, that's kind of my little training journey, just packed into a nutshell.
Do you miss the pizza?
Dude, so I'm a big Lou Malnati's guy.
Yeah.
There's 2 places. There's Giordano's and Lou Malnati's. I actually worked at Lou Malnati's, my entire time up there. So I'm a Lou's guy all day. And I wake up sometimes craving it, man. That Chicago style deep dish, man, with that butter crust. I do miss it.
Yeah, I got a couple buddies that live in Chicago, and they rave about it out there.
Yeah.
So let's get into the meat of things.
Cool.
The meat of things. So, how did your relationship with Tua Tagovailoa begin? And in your mind, what made Per4orm the perfect fit for his offseason regimen?
So it's pretty cool, actually. We do NFL combine prep. And one of our pre-draft combine guys this year, Khalil Herbert, who actually is a American Heritage alum as well, he decided to train with us, and he signed with Steinberg Sports, who represents Tua, right? So Chris Cabot, who is Tua's agent, came to our facility to meet me and just kind of get a feel for where Khalil was going to train. So he comes in, I gave him a tour of the facility. We talked for, I'd say, maybe 30 minutes. And he really was feeling, the facility and feeling what we had going on, and just felt more comfortable sending his guy to a place he had never heard of, right? So a week after that, I got a phone call from Chris, and he's like, hey buddy, what's going on? And I was like, nothing much, man. How are you? How can I help you? He's like, yeah, I just I've been thinking, and I've got this crazy idea, and I'm thinking that I've got this client. First of all, he's a high profile guy. I don't want to say his name yet, but I've got this client, and I think it might be a great opportunity for you to train him this offseason. He's looking to stay local. He lives down the street. He's not too far, but he wants one-on-one, and he really wants to, have this program built for him that's going to get into the next level. I'm like, all right, sounds good, man. Like, whenever you want, let's do it. So he's like, all right, well, his parents want to meet you. And I'm like, his parents want to meet me. All right. Haven't heard that one, since being like high school kids or maybe some college kids. He's like, yeah, his parents want to meet you. They just, would like to see your facility and so on and so forth. I was like, all right, cool. Sounds good. So, and I was like, all right, well, when do you want? He's like, Saturday, tomorrow. And I was like, all right, cool. I can be there at 10 a.m. He's like, perfect. And he goes, you want me to tell you who it is? And I was like, it doesn't really matter. And he goes, well, just to preface it, it's Tua. And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So I'm going to meet his dad. His name's Nalu, and then his mom, Diane, tomorrow. So I met with them at the facility, gave them a tour, sat down with them, and kind of let them know who I am. I really didn't talk program or anything like that. Just kind of, icebreaker, just to get a feel for who I am and what we do. And they loved it. They loved the facility. They liked me. And they're like, all right, cool, let's get Chris on the phone. So they got Chris on the phone and said, all right, Chris, let's get this thing going, And 3 weeks later, we started training. I had never spoke to Tua, had never met Tua. It was just, hey, we think this is the right thing. And 3 weeks later, I pull up to Tua's house and, hey, what's up, man? Nick Hicks, nice to meet you. And then we just started training, and that was it.
That's awesome, man.
It's a pretty cool story.
And you also actually trained with his brother as well, right?
I did, yeah. So his brother, Talia, who goes to Maryland, plays quarterback at Maryland, would come down during his breaks, whether it was spring break. He came down the first time, and then break right before camp and train with us for about a month or so. And he's a great kid. Love that kid. So he'll be with us, I think, through the whole process, the pre-draft process, and into his professional career.
That's a cool story, because honestly, one of the sleeper running backs I wanted in this draft was Khalil Herbert out of Virginia Tech. That would have been awesome, to be honest with you. That's kind of a cool story, man. I know on the Miami on the Rocks podcast, you couldn't go into full detail about Tua's specific training regimen, but is there anything you can get the fans out there now about because he's talked about it a little bit too in his media availabilities? Is there anything you can talk about with his regimen?
Yeah, I mean, ask me some questions and I'll answer them.
Okay, so we saw that drill a couple weeks ago that you posted on Instagram where you had it looked like a footwork drill where you had him going right to left. Yeah, you had him going right to left, and then you called out a number and he made the throw. Could you explain what the purpose of the drill is and why you called out the number?
Yeah, so basically the short version of that drill. So I've got 2 hex grids, which are circles, plastic circles, actually hexagons. That's why they're hex grids on the ground. And then I would have him either do a 5-step drop or a 7-step drop. And then I would give him a direction to go, whether to step up in the pocket or actually break the pocket or even weave the pocket. Now, the reason that we did that was just to keep his feet alive in the pocket and then keep his eyes downfield, because I had 2 receivers downfield. I had a shallow crosser, and then I also had a, like a third level deep guy. Both of those receivers, one was an odd number and one was an even number. Okay. So what I'm doing is, and like I said, a little bit short version, but that was like the 5th, 6th rep of the day right there. And they're back to back rapid fire, because the goal is to get them tired, You know what I mean? Because when you're fatigued, you stop thinking. The first thing to go is your mental, So what we did first was a quick little 5-step drop with a hitch. I had him step in the pocket, weave, and then break the pocket, and then I yell out a number. If I yell out 12, he's throwing it to the receiver. That's the even. If I yell out 13, he's throwing to the receiver. That's the odd. And the whole goal was to get the ball out of your hand as fast as possible as soon as you hear the number. If you're actually rolling out and you hear the number, you have to set your feet and throw. If you're rolling out opposite, I'd like for you to set your feet and throw as well. So there was a lot of different wrinkles to the drill. But what that drill was muscular endurance, cardiovascular endurance, obviously working on poise in the pocket, being able to think when you're under duress and you're fatigued, so on and so forth. So again, that's just one of the drills that we did that day. It just so happened that we decided to post that one.
That's awesome. And you actually had a drill today you posted, and color me surprised when you told me what that drill was actually meant for.
Yeah.
Because everyone reposted it to Twitter. Everyone was talking about some mobility.
Yeah.
Can you give everyone some insight on what that drill actually was and what Tua said about getting into that drill?
Yeah. So I train a lot of running backs. Dalvin Cook, J.K. Dobbins, Devin Singletary, Jerick McKinnon, just to name a few. And it was a position-specific day, and Tua wanted to come out and do running back drills that day. He wanted to do, mobility and change the direction and some agility. And it's so funny too, because we didn't do any kind of prep or any install, teaching him any moves. He was just watching the 10 guys in front of him, and he would just mimic it. And I mean, he looked damn good. It was funny. It was actually funny to us.
Awesome.
We got a couple other clips too, where he just kills the drill and everybody's just laughing, super excited about it. But that's him. He's insanely athletic. He's a very quick learner. And he's also not scared to try new things, which is just some of the reasons why we love him.
He talked about, I don't know whether he's joking or not, but he talked about working on the glutes really when it's leg day, right?
Not a joke, man. That's real.
No, I just make jokes. I just laugh. I make jokes with my wife about glutes all the time and stuff, right? And what was the I know it was the focus was on strengthening the hip, but isn't it trying to keep the hips level now? Like what's the main focus with that training?
So look, man, I mean, when we first got Tua, under our wing, he was very weak. I mean, he could really barely balance on one leg on an uneven platform for a long period of time. A reverse lunge, body reverse lunge for, a high volume of reps would fatigue him, which you don't really see with many elite athletes, So I got this tool that I use. Basically what it is, it measures isometric strength of a joint. So what I did was measured where he was. And this is right now, actually, at the end of the season, at the end of the program, we just did it. And I measured his right hip to his left hip, the right hip being the surgical hip and the left hip being the non-surgical hip. And his right hip is actually slightly stronger than the left one now. When I first met him, that was not the case at all. The right hip was very, very weak and slightly painful in certain things, but that makes sense. What the kid went through, it makes sense. He didn't train, he didn't lift, he didn't exercise properly. When you get a clearance from a doctor, okay, they're clearing you to go back to football activity, not play in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's say we can even retrace that timeline too, because that makes sense going into our training, right? So he went from playing at Bama, suffering a very severe hip injury that if anyone that I know, had it, they'd probably lose full function of their leg, if not get their leg amputated, because it was that bad. So then after that, you get a surgery, okay? After the surgery, you've got a very lengthy rehab process. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, after that lengthy rehab process, all of a sudden you've got to go do a pro day. Okay. You do your pro day and it's lackluster, but people can tell that you're not completely healthy, and you also know you're not completely healthy. Then after that, it's draft. It's the NFL draft, which is an insanely stressful period of time for these guys as well. All right, so then he gets drafted. He shows up to the facility, right? But there's no rookie mini camp. There's no mini camp. There's no camp. There's no preseason game. He hasn't trained because he's at these facilities doing things with the team, correct? Or sitting at home in Alabama not training, not doing anything because of COVID. It's not like he's actually at it, perform, working out and getting his body healthy. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things that he was doing. There's a lot of things that he just couldn't do to get himself prepared for a season, right?
Mm.
So then, and when I think someone quoted me, Tyler quoted me in an article that Tua was probably 60% last year, and yeah, I agree with that. That's what I said, and I stand by it. About 60% last year. Right now, I think that Tua is in the best shape of his life. And I say that because I've asked him, and he says that he feels great. He feels amazing. He had never really worked out much. And I'm not sitting there saying that I worked the magic. He was so untrained. He didn't really have a training history or training background. He would do quarterback stuff with his dad, and that was kind of what his focus was on. And I mean, you guys seen him throw the football, move in the pocket. Him and his dad did an amazing job at that. But as far as speed, agility, change of direction, proper deceleration, that kind of stuff, it was non-existent. He lifted a little bit of weights at Bama, but again, it wasn't like top priority there. And plus, he was battling injury all the time at Bama too. He had 3 broken thumbs
and the tightrope surgeries in his ankles, right?
Both of his ankles, broken thumbs. I mean, he was like me in his constant, state of rehabilitation. So,
we're gonna dive into this right now.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask this question because Estefan makes a $5 donation. He says, "Thanks for the mobility update. Can you talk about if there was any flexibility training, yoga, Pilates? Because Myles Gaskin was on record doing Pilates this offseason."
Flexibility was a main pillar in our program. And we didn't do yoga or Pilates. It was just doing, corrective exercise and mobility exercises, primarily the joints, the hips, the shoulders, stuff like that. What I don't want to get really too into is what we did, because that's kind of the secret sauce, and I don't think Tua wants me to talk too much about exact exercises.
Yep.
But yeah, mobility was a main factor, big factor in our program. And that's really any program that I built for somebody. The first thing we got to do is get mobile. The second thing is get stable. And then after that, then we can add some sort of external resistance and really get you stronger. But Tua's mobility wasn't too bad. It was more so the stability of his joints that we really had to hammer.
When you mentioned the 60% in Tyler Dunn's article, was that 60% you felt he was through the season? And what would you say percentage-wise he was at when you got your hands on him? Sorry.
Yeah, I'd say that 60% through the season, and I think maybe a little bit, probably right around the same when I got him, because he could still do things. I mean, he's at the end of the day, he's one of 32 people in the world, starting quarterbacks in the NFL. He's a pretty impressive guy. So, at the end of the day, that is, I wasn't too worried when I got him, because when I got him was what I watched on TV all year. Okay, we've got some work to do, and we at the end of the day, I really feel that he took advantage of every single day. He took every single session. You mentioned something backstage. I wanted to know if you could tell the people this. Yeah.
Can you talk about his body in terms of what his weight's at and what his body fat was when you got him to what it is now?
Yeah. So he was 216 pounds when we started, and he's 216, maybe even 215 pounds now. And it's kind of crazy to even think about because he doesn't look the same.
Yeah.
But his body composition has changed. He's burned fat and he's put on lean mass. When we got him, he was 16% body fat, and now he's hanging around 10%, which is ideal. We don't really want to go too much lower than that.
Wow.
Like,
I just wanted, is it safe to say that we're going to see arguably probably not only a more explosive Tua Tagovailoa this year, but probably the most we've seen him because of the training and just where he's at physically?
Yeah, I think we're going to see something very similar to Tuscaloosa Tua, Bama Tua, someone confident, someone moving well, somebody putting their foot in the ground and throwing a strike, threading the needle, somebody having a shit ton of fun, and winning football games.
You played the position. You're also a Dolphins fan. How key do you think it is that they went out and drafted guys like a guy like Jalen Waddle They signed a guy like Will Fuller. They're kind of going away from those isolation 50-50 receivers and getting more of those guys who can take the top off, but also kill teams underneath, which is more to the Tuscaloosa Toa you're talking about, was a rhythm, timing, thrower. Okay. Like it seems like they're starting to create the weapons more to his strength. What do you make of that, just as a fan and as a former quarterback yourself?
Well, I mean, it's exciting because I think we ranked bottom of the barrel last year in offensive weapons. And now they're coming out saying that we're top 10, receiving core. And obviously we're gonna have to see how that pans out, but it's obviously exciting, and any quarterback who can look downfield and see basically a track meet. We've got absolute Olympic speed on the field. And guys that not only have, this 4.2, 4.3 speed, but also have like brake systems like no other, can just stop on a dime. I mean, you've got to be excited.
Yeah. And I mean, we were talking about him, you've worked out with him and, he's not exclusive to you, but a guy that I've really been a proponent of even before he opted out was Albert Wilson. I said, when you talk about the Bama style receiver, this guy is almost like the prototype: fast, great route runner, really solid hands, great ability with yards after the catch. What have you seen? Because I know you've seen him a little bit this offseason. What can you tell the fans what to expect from a guy like Albert Wilson potentially this season?
I love Albert. And like I told you backstage, Albert's wife trains with Per4orm, but he does not. And that's okay. He's found something that works for him. And if you're comfortable with that, I'm all in on that. I'm not going to try to, bring you on over. But Albert's awesome, man. He's insanely football smart. He is exactly where he needs to be on the field. He just understands it. And I mean, we've seen him. We saw him 2 years ago when he actually played for the Dolphins instead of opting out. He was ridiculous. And he had some soft tissue injuries then. I think he's in the best shape of his life. I mean, I was seeing him twice a week when Tua was out there. And I mean, he looks amazing. He looks lean. He looks fast. He even cut his hair a little bit. He doesn't have the long braids anymore. He's got a new look, So I'm excited to watch Albert play, man. And he's rocking that number 2 this year too.
Yep, I love it. Looks crisp on him, man. So does Fuller in that
good.
3. Yeah, and Bowden with the 6. I love it, man.
Yep.
Can you tell everyone how Tua was rallying the receivers and the guys he was bringing out there to work with? Because you mentioned an interesting thing that he even brought offensive linemen out there to work with him this offseason.
So he tried twice a week to get all the guys out there. Sometimes all of them can make it. Sometimes it would literally be just him and Mac Hollins, believe it or not. But he tried to put things together. And I think it was very, very advantageous for him to get out there and kind of show, his new skill set, and just be a little more confident and say, hey, look, this is my team. I mean, he had all the plays drawn up on boards. He was telling everybody where to go. He was, he just was leading the show, so, watching that, it made me happy because I saw him start to be more confident in himself and confident around the other guys. And he called the offensive line guys out there one day, maybe 2 days, just go over cadences and get them in alignments. They didn't come out too much, but when they did, Tua was out there running the show, man. It was awesome to see.
Rhino donated $5. He said, "Thanks, Nick Hicks, for giving us some of your time. Thanks for explaining the situation about our quarterback. Much respect."
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
We've got about almost 400 people in the comments right now. They're all loving you right now.
Nice.
Can you also talk about? You don't have to go into as much detail as we did backstage, but the offense this year. You said he was drawing up plays. He had plays out there. Do you think he's more comfortable in the current offense with the players because he's second year with a lot of them, but also with the playbook than he was last year?
Well, I mean, you and I both know that he didn't say that he didn't know the playbook. He said he didn't know the playbook really well.
Yep.
Yeah, that's different than saying I didn't know the playbook.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think that he was being modest. I think that he was being humble, and he was actually taking some of the blame off of other people's shoulders and putting it onto his, which is so crazy to me. I don't know why Colin Cowherd and all these other guys are blowing things out of proportion. I guess they have nothing else to talk about. But yeah, it's different offense, different OC, different group of guys. And I know that Tua, I mean, it's crazy. You go into his house, he's got this huge whiteboard, and there's 3 zillion things written on it. There's every single defensive coverage known to man, and then every single look they can come out of that coverage. It's like hieroglyphics of football on this massive wall. So I mean, if you think that he doesn't know the playbook really, really well last year, you better know that he's gonna know that playbook like the back of his hand this year. You know, and I think that it's I hated the whole interview and how people took things out of proportion. I love the interview. I hate how people, would copy and paste or just snip, 1 or 2 lines that he said out of there. But I feel like all those people are going to eat their words pretty soon.
Brother, I had a Twitter thread. It had over 500 likes. It got picked up. It got picked up by an Alabama Tide publication on USA Today. I'll send it to you. But I brought out my sword and my shield, and I went to war for that kid because
I love it.
It was unfair what people were trying to nitpick at what he was saying when really he was telling you what happened. You just had to read between the lines and use logic and common sense, or
just watch the interview and not just read 1 or 2 sentences from it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Killed me, man.
Just
killed me.
And people, you said something key. I look at him. And he looks like one of the most humblest and nicest people you could ever meet. And, you said something key and you want your quarterback to do that as a leader and as a galvanizer, that they take the blame and they don't place blame on anyone else as a cop-out. And I don't know why people weren't more impressed with his willingness to just shoulder it all.
Crazy.
And, you've been around all these elite athletes.
Yeah.
Isn't that going to get you farther with your locker room than pointing fingers?
He's like no one I've ever met in my life, and I've said that I think on the Miami and the Rocks podcast. He's literally like no one I ever met in my life. He's just a great kid, through and through, insanely modest. If I say, hey man, good rep, he'd be like, oh, I don't know, man, I'll get better. I think it was a perfect rep, you know what I mean? Or if I say, hey man, you're getting stronger, he'd be like, I don't know, I still got more work to do. It's like he'll never, ever, ever accept a compliment. It's always he kind of says, you know what, I appreciate it, but we're not where we need to be, And then when he's around other people, I mean, he's selfless. He's selfless. He really is. I went to his house for a barbecue, and I mean, he was hanging out, and as soon as I walked through the door, he ran over, made me a whole plate of food, made my girlfriend a plate of food, dropped it off, and was just helping people with everything. It's a culture, obviously, but it's also him. Like I said, I've never met anybody like him. His brothers just like him. His uncles are just like him. It's insane. They're the Tagovailoas are just special people. And we should be very fortunate that we got a quarterback on our squad like that, because he's a man of integrity. He's an honest guy. And he's gonna work as hard as he can every single day. You're never gonna worry about him not putting in the effort or putting the work in to be as great as everybody wants him to be.
Man, the left arm of God, baby. I love him.
Yeah.
Irving says, great interview with Nick Hicks. Drew Boo also made a donation, and he said, welcome to the show, Nick. You're the real deal, brother. Cook my favorite running back one, fins up.
Appreciate that, man.
And you got to tell from all of us over here, that meat hookup Tua has with that premium meats place looks absolutely fantastic.
Oh my God.
Brother.
I think it's like Joshua's or Jason's or something like that.
Oh my God. Looks so good.
He's always got everything, the best of everything, man. We have a party, it's the prime rib, it's Wagyu or whatever it is, man. The best of everything. Awesome. I mean, he's having he had I think a party for his birthday, and they had like Disneyland fireworks out there blowing off, like crazy fireworks. I mean, stops at nothing to get the best of the best.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
It's nice to see nice guys finishing first for once.
100%.
So just back to Tua a little bit here. If you watch the All-22, Tua did a few things uncharacteristically mechanics-wise last year than that you really didn't see him do at Alabama. One of them was when he got to the top of his drops, whether it was a 3 or 5 step, he was doing this little hitch or this almost little extra hop step. And there was specifically that one play to Mike Gesicki in the Chiefs game where it was a timing throw, and because he did that little hop step once he got to the top of his drop,
it was late.
It was late, and Gesicki made the catch, but he got licked by the safety, right? Whereas if he didn't do that hop drop and got the ball out, Gesicki's a little bit more in open space. He can make something happen. And don't mind me, I literally broke down every single drop back of Tua Tagovailoa in his rookie season on this channel. So I'm
That's
a little bit of a
crazy.
film junkie, bro.
I see that. Where do you get your film?
Well,
YouTube?
so no. So obviously I get the all 22 for the
Yeah.
NFL from
Yeah.
Game Pass, but then for college, I have a few scouts and evaluators
Dude, you're the real deal,
who hook
Reason.
me up
I
with
see you, man.
Google Drives. Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
That's pretty
Um,
crazy.
but was that something you noticed at the top of his drop and you helped clean up during the offseason?
Again, I think it's two things, maybe a little bit of two things. Number one, not being healthy.
Mhm.
Number two, understanding that the NFL is a very fast game and you're playing, the defending Super Bowl champs. It's just different. It's different. And rookies make rookie mistakes. They're a little late. They throw a ball a little high. They second guess. At the end of the day, and it's just rookie stuff. But I do think that the majority of the issues and him taking an extra hop step at the top of a drop had to do with health. Because if you're not healthy, okay, let's talk like you Reason. If you're 60% health and your friend asks you to go play in a flag football game right now, are you gonna play well?
Probably
You're not, right?
No.
You're not. You're probably not gonna play well, and you're gonna be thinking about your injury the entire time. Like, oh, I can't really cut too hard on my hurt ankle. Oh, I don't want to go right because my ankle, right? Now let's think about this. Let's think about a kid, 22 years old, okay, coming off one of the worst injuries we've seen, not gruesome wise to watch, but a femur puncture through the back wall of a hip with internal bleeding doesn't sound fun, right?
No.
So let's think about that. Then not really rehab, not really training, but just staying in this rehab state and then going and playing football. Now you have to play at the highest level of football in the world against the biggest, fastest, strongest guys ever, right? And then game one, he looked pretty good, right, against the Rams. I mean, it didn't look too bad. They get some film on him. They start planning around it. And now they're bringing the house. They're disguising coverages. They see that he doesn't really understand NFL secondaries just yet. So I think that it's more so that just being unsure, being a little bit, unhealthy, and just trying to make plays, but also being a little bit timid in the process.
Damien, he donated $5 here, and he says, "Great show, Reason. Thank you, Nick Hicks, for helping our quarterback get ready to slaughter the NFL. Love it, man."
Absolutely.
And Josh Williams said, "Reason, show him your Equalizer meme." So the movie The Equalizer with Denzel Washington? Well, I do a podcast with legendary Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, and
awesome.
on it he said, Tua, he's going to come out this season, and it's like the Equalizer. Somebody's got to pay for all this when talking the nonsense. So I took the movie poster and I took Denzel Washington's face out and I put Tua's face on it.
I love it. You gotta send it to me.
I will, brother. I will. But I gotta ask you this flat out because this is something I said. Okay, and you don't have to talk about the protection, but I will a little bit here.
Yeah.
So the protection, guy like Robert Hunt, God bless him, was constantly into his lap from the day we drafted him. I said, this guy is a guard. He's not a tackle. When you look at his lateral movement, how he is into his kick slide, his hip flexibility when his drops his butt, he's a guard. He's not a tackle. Okay.
Yep.
You look at Ted Karras. I don't care what anyone says. I wasn't really impressed with the play we got from Ted Karras. Austin Jackson, especially in the Denver game, couldn't handle guys like Bradley Chubb coming across his face.
Yep.
You look at the receiving core, Jakeem Grant, God bless him, getting open, but he's dropping footballs. Lynn Bowden was the only receiver who actually didn't drop a football out of every receiver in
and
the core.
He wasn't even a receiver. He'd never played receiver in his life.
Exactly, right? So you look at all these factors. I tell people, I said, I don't think Tua fully trusted his protection.
Yeah,
I don't know if he fully trusted his receiving corps because let's be honest.
I mean, DP had soft tissue issues. Yep. Preston had a season injury. Gesicki had one shoulder.
Yep.
Running back wise, Miles was killing it. Then he went and had the MCL.
Yep.
And then Savon came in and actually did very well. But then again, these are just guys that you're not sure of. If we don't know, the coaching staff really doesn't know. But you're right. The supporting cast last year was hurt or inexperienced.
You think and my whole thing is too. The other thing I would ask is, he doesn't trust his protection. I don't think at times he trusted the receiving corps. I don't know if he fully trusted his body. Is that a fair assessment?
That's 100%. He didn't trust his body. I don't think he trusted just his physical traits of him extending a play. I mean, he could run the football, and just extend the play behind the line of scrimmage, kind of like a Russell Wilson. And I don't think he trusted that hip. No, you nailed that nail on the head.
Is that maybe, is that a reason why because I know you watched him at Alabama, just like, I watched every snap he took at Alabama. Even before we drafted him, I was absolutely infatuated with this kid.
Yep.
I thought he was the best. I thought he was better than a prospect, more polished prospect than Andrew Luck coming out.
Yep.
And another thing you started seeing more often by the end of the year was he was bailing more often than not, instead of doing what he was known for. And he was damn near elite at doing, which is maneuvering his way through the pocket and climbing it. Do you think that was because he didn't trust his body and he just wanted to get out there right now? I mean, do you think we'll see him return to climbing that pocket more efficiently like he did at Bama?
Yes. Again, I think what you're talking about is him being 60% himself, a shell of himself. I mean, he's moving amazing in the pocket. He's strong. He's fast. He's very explosive. That's my answer is yes. We will see more of what he did at Bama than what we did in the last 2-3 games of the season.
Giancarlo says, I can see why people gravitate towards you, Nick. Thank you for having Tua's times back.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Again, I know you didn't give a number earlier, but would you estimate he's closer to 100% now?
He's 100%. He's the healthiest he's ever been right now. Hands down, guaranteed.
Beautiful.
That's not even close to me just exaggerating here. I do exaggerate a lot, don't I?
No, but I think you're fantastic, buddy.
No, but no, I'm telling you, man, he is in amazing shape. And pulling sleds with all of my NFL guys, and I'm talking about a lot of running backs. He was beating them in races. Wow. I'm not going to put names out there. But he was beating a couple AFC running backs and a couple NFC running backs in foot races on the field this offseason. He was flying. So, obviously, if you're pulling a sled the same weight of a guy that's 190 and you're 215, there's a little bit of a discrepancy. But at the end of the day, who cares? A win's a win, right? And he was having fun with it. He was having fun with it, man. It was really cool to see him kind of break out of his shell and just really enjoy the grind. Not a lot of people do. And not a lot of people enjoy waking up every single day at 6 a.m. and working out for an hour and then taking a 30-minute break, slamming a protein shake, and meet me at the field and working out for another hour 15, And then after that, studying your playbook all day. And he embraced it for 4 months. He loved it. Not only embraced it, he thoroughly enjoyed it. He's a sicko, man.
Do you think you're the reason why because I didn't know that till you, I think you said it. Are you the reason why you think he built a gym there because now he's in his house because he's now absolutely in love with it?
He had that gym before.
Oh, did he?
The Dolphins actually helped him put it together during COVID last year so that he could, work out in his house and not have to come to the facility, so on and so forth. And it's a nice gym. It's exactly what he needs. But he put that in there before he ever met me.
Based again on your estimation of 60% health last year, obviously the Dolphins medical staff would have known that as well, or have a gauge on the situation as well. To you as a trainer, was the risk worth the reward in terms of rushing him in there when he's not at 100%? And what I mean by that, the risk to the reward is the reward of the invaluable game experience that he gained.
Look, man, you can't put it on any medical staff because when somebody passes a medical test saying that they're cleared, that means they're cleared to start introducing the sport back to their daily life. You can go back out there and start running and start cutting and start throwing the ball. When someone's cleared, that doesn't mean that they're 100%. That means that, okay, good. You are now ready to take the step from physical therapy to either training or play. That's what that means. And I think people need to understand that. They see, oh, he was cleared. He should have been okay. And, everyone said he was fine. That's not what that term means. You need to do your research on that. That's not what that term means. I don't know if he should have played last year, but he did. And he didn't play up to his own standards. And he knows that. And he's ready to change that this year. And that's really all I got to say about that.
Pyro says coming soon to a theater near you, the Samoan Sniper. My question to you though is, when you look at Joe Burrow, when you look at Justin Herbert, okay, Joe
Yeah.
Burrow was working out with the Palmer brothers and TJ Hushmanzada. Herbert
Yep.
was working well with ex pros, and as well as he was learning to take snaps from under center because he never did it at Oregon.
This
Again,
is all
another
pre-draft, you're
yeah,
saying?
pre-draft. Yeah.
Yep.
Another guy I watched every snap of was
Yep.
Herbert. And do you think you're a trainer, okay, not only rehab but actually training athletes to get better? Can you talk about what the disadvantage Tua was compared to those guys when he's working to get back on the field while they're just sitting there soaking in all these training sessions?
Yep.
Look at, we don't know how, I don't know how long Tua's rehab sessions were, but if there's 6 or 8 hours, you got to think to yourself, hey, how many hours of that could he been using on the playbook, let alone
Of course.
going out and working with people? Can you just give people an idea of, because you work with running backs, receivers, quarterbacks, different athletes in different sports, the type of disadvantage he was at? And you got to make that rookie jump to the NFL where it's now the big boys play. Can you just talk about, the curve, how behind the curve he was a little bit?
Well, the whole pre-draft process is pretty crazy because you've got NFL teams calling you every single day, asking you questions. You're meeting with teams. And you're also training for either a pro day or the combine. Tua didn't have that, and then quarterbacks usually don't do traditional pre-draft or combine training stuff. They're not working on their 40 unless you're going to go run a 40. Okay. They're not working on the bench press. They're not really working on the pro drill or the L drill. They're focused on position specific stuff. They're working on a script, a throwing script that they'll either do at their pro day or what the combine asks you to throw. Okay. If you're a rehab guy and you're coming off of a hip injury in which you need your hip to throw the football or even to plant when you're throwing the football, it has everything to do with throwing the football. You're not getting those reps in. You're at a huge disadvantage. And again, that's just one of the little things that Tua had to go through last year compared to the other guys. And then Joe Burrow's going to go through the same thing this year. Joe Burrow's got his knee brace on. He didn't have much of an offseason. We'll see how he looks. You know what I mean?
And he falls under what you said earlier. He's been cleared to come back, but he's not at 100% right now, right?
He's not at 100%. No, he's not. And again, he had an ACL reconstructive surgery. That's different than a dislocated hip that punctured the back wall of your pelvic girdle that caused internal bleeding. Like that's different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a pretty invasive surgery. Not saying that I'm trying to give Tua a pass because he had a worse injury than Joe. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying is you take those things into consideration.
Yeah. I got just off Tua for a sec. Do you think Joe's playing with a little bit of fire? Because you're one who's torn ligaments before. Do you think he's playing with a little bit of fire? And, let's be honest with ourselves.
Yep.
The Bengals ain't winning anything anytime soon right now, okay?
No, they're not. They're definitely not.
Like, like if you were in his position, knowing what you know as a trainer and such, would you maybe even sit out this year just to make sure you're back at full strength? Because
I wouldn't sit out, but I would take a look at having him start right away. To me, no, ACL reconstructive surgery is like my niche. I've probably had over 100 knees in my career. I've had 3 ACLs myself. I kind of know the ropes with that. I would say that it's 8 months, okay, is a pretty quick surgery. Now, we're talking about NFL guys that have the best of the best surgeons, the best of the best physical therapists. So you can expedite that to 7 months. Okay, sure. But I still don't think that that's the move, because what happens is when they do an ACL surgery, they drill through your femur, okay, and they drill through your tibia. And then they take the graft, whether it's a patella tendon, whether it's a cadaver, whether it's a hamstring graft, they twist it up, make a little braid, they drop it into the hole in the femur, and then they put it through the hole in the tibia, and they literally take screws and screw it into the top. What they do then is they fill the holes up with some sort of like a cement, so to speak, that takes a full year to become bone. Okay, so let's just say you do cut, all right, and you're at 7 months, and you kind of jump the gun, and you haven't really built the strength around your quad and the strength around your hamstring and all your decelerator muscles. Okay, if you jar that knee, that femur going over that tibia, you can dislodge this brand new graft that you had. You don't have to re-tear it. You can dislodge it. you know? So guys coming back after 10 months, I'll say 10 months is kind of like the norm these days. Guys come back for 10 months, they're running a risk, So, he's at 7 months now. That's 3 months. I'd say have him come back week 4 of the season. Maybe not start it. You're not trying to win a Super Bowl. You're the Cincinnati Bengals. You've got the worst offensive line in the world. And you got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Maybe I don't even know. I don't really know too much about the Cincinnati Bengals. But at the end of the day, I think that him trying to pressure it to come back to play weeks 1 through 4, probably not the best idea. Not saying he's going to re-injure his knee.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, obviously, and I obviously don't wish that. I hope that he kills it. Joe Burrow's a baller. Football's better when he's playing. So that's just kind of the issue at hand with ACLs.
Yeah. EM Dolphin fan says, Nick, salute to you for all this insightful information. Respect to you.
I see with the $10 donation, my man. Okay.
Throwing, and you've kind of talked about this before, I believe, and I've talked about this multiple times on this platform. Throwing a football is based so much on kinetic energy from your toes all the way up to your fingertips. I believe you called it a kinetic chain. So overall, how much stronger and explosive would you say he is from the lower half to his upper body compared to even what he was at Alabama, now that he's actually working out and building that man strength and man body?
Yeah, way stronger. Obviously, I mean, it's if you generate force through the legs, to your trunk, to your upper body, you're going to be able to put more on the ball. We've also did a lot of plyo ball stuff, so it's weighted throwing ball stuff that we implemented with this program this offseason. We did some strength days, and we also do an entire plyo ball series that we do before he throws as a warm up. And I mean, he told me that, like, this is crazy. He'll just throw these plyo balls for X amount of reps, and then go out and be ready to throw, as opposed to having to throw 35 footballs to warm up. He's feeling good. And he's zipping the ball. It's funny, man, because everyone dissects every single little clip they see of a mashup that the Dolphins post about Tua throwing, and it doesn't look like he has velocity in the ball. Like, he's throwing to routes on air. He's throwing to a 10-yard out to the sideline for time. It's a timing route.
Timing and precision route. Yeah, I got in arguments with people about that. Yeah.
Like, guys, come on, man. And that's the thing. Peyton Manning didn't have the strongest arm ever. Peyton Manning threw the ball on the button every single time because he was accurate, and he also understood timing and had great chemistry with his receivers. Tua can throw the football 60 yards upfield. Yeah, he doesn't have to. Doesn't have to. I remember a play last year where he threw the ball 58 yards to Jakeem Grant and bounced off his fingers. And that was off of a bad hip. You know what I'm saying? So, lifting weights.
We don't like to talk about that play over here because Jakeem should have caught that football, but that's a different story.
It's all good. It's all good, man. Jakeem's gonna catch the next one. I bet on it, man. He's been busting his ass all offseason too, and he's a great dude. If anybody talks about Jakeem, get to know this guy. An amazing dude. He's just like Tua. Super humble, super cool, very appreciative. Yes, sir. No, sir. Thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate it. I'll see you next week. He's an amazing guy, great kid. So, that's the thing. When people say they hate professional athletes, this guy sucks, I hate him. Get to know them. They're human beings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I apologize for bringing it up. I'm sorry if it's a soft spot.
It's okay. If you saw my live reaction to that throw, you'd be telling me to get to know the kid. 1MD12 donated $5 euros, it looks like, too. He said, awesome chat, Nick and Reason. Nick, do you have any interaction with Charlie Fry? Also, any thoughts on Solomon McKinley from your time with him?
No, I did not meet with Charlie, but Tua spoke with Charlie a lot. They developed a pretty solid relationship. And then Solomon worked out with us for about 5 weeks, and then he went to California for about a month. I haven't really seen him since, but he contacted me and said he'd get back in the gym. I love Solomon, though. He's a funny dude. He's good energy, good guy, and very technical. I think that he's actually to find his way in the field a lot this year.
Yeah, actually, I did a film study on him last year, and I think he's going to eventually be an all-pro guard, just like I think Hunt now kicked inside. Yeah. I think he's got an all-pro ceiling for sure. Yeah. What's the most impressive trait you've seen from Tua firsthand on the field?
Accuracy with the football. And then I mean, it's funny too when he catches this little rhythm, he'll drop back. There was one day we were throwing, and he was throwing all the Dolphins guys, and he would drop back in his drop, and he'd still be talking to me like you and I are talking right now, and then just put his foot in the ground and throw a dime, 40 yards across the body on a comeback to DP, but talking to me mid conversation, knowing where the receiver is going to be, not even having a look, just keeping his eyes locked on me, and you could just tell he was feeling pretty confident and really getting his swagger. That is one of the moments in our offseason training that I really started to be like, all right, man, this dude's really feeling it. He's starting to have some fun.
Wow. Like
Yeah.
that's looking through the eyes of your soul while he's throwing comeback routes. That's like so impressive. Jeremy Klump asks, have you and Tua talked about all the hate he's received this offseason? Has Tua tuned it all out, or has it fueled him to be even better?
We haven't really talked about it, but he's not really on social media, believe it or not. He doesn't use social media much. But I mean, I'm sure he hears it. I'm sure people have told him about it. But he's just as hard on himself about last year as everyone else is. He thinks that he could have done way better. He has high standards, and he knows he didn't meet them last year. So, he is obviously not saying, any words of hate or any stuff like that about himself, but he knows, like, I could have done better. I could have done way better than I did last year, and this year I'm going to prove it.
Who was that? There was that. What was it? It wasn't Rich Eisen. It was, the guy used to be on ESPN. And now he has his own YouTube show.
I don't know.
It was the one that Tua went on, and he asked him, "Oh, should I even be buying your jersey?" You know what I mean? And I came on this.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I came on this platform, and I said, "You know what? Tua gonna ball out, and I hope he's too humble of a guy. But if it was me, I'd show up next season and throw a number 1 jersey on his on it.
He would never, man.
It was Dan Patrick. It was Dan.
Oh, it was Dan Patrick. Yeah. He would never do that. Oh man,
let me ask you, isn't it okay? You look at you telling about his health, where he's at.
Yeah.
How it set him back a little bit in terms of, he knew the playbook. We've gone over this. He just didn't really know the playbook. Yeah. All right. So that's still 60-70% at least. I look at that as.
Yeah.
Isn't a lot of this criticism like really unfair?
Yes, it is. It is, especially if you look at his numbers too. There have been so many worse quarterbacks in the rookie season that have done well. I personally think that the Miami Dolphins fan base is they're wrong. They're so wrong, and they need to. They're the ones that fuel the fire. Like, I'm in this Facebook. So funny, man. I've been in this Fins Up Facebook group for years, like forever, and I never really paid too much attention to it. But now obviously there's pictures of me in it, and people are talking about me in it. So I pay a little bit more attention to it. And the two guys that run it, I swear to you, I don't think they like the Dolphins at all. And they're like the commissioners or the chairs of the group. It's crazy. It's really crazy to me. But I think it has been blown out of proportion. I've never seen a quarterback, who has taken so much flack from their own fan base for actually being pretty successful within the standards of what he had to deal with. And then also in comparables, like him and Joe Burrow, comparables are very similar. They both played 10 games, very, very comparable. Yeah, yep. Justin Herbert had a great year, awesome year. We can't sit here and say anything else about that. But let's compare the comparables. Tua coming off of an injury, Joe got injured, but in 10 games that they played, very similar.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's, like, especially Facebook, it's nothing but a cesspool. And I tell these people, I say, keep that same energy when this kid's taking us to AFC championships into the Super Bowl. Yep. Keep that same energy. I want to
keep that same energy. We've got the receipt saved, Jordan.
Exactly.
We've got them saved.
You've trained with professionals in the past. You've ran into your share of personalities, I'm sure. Do you believe Tua's Mahola nature is the calm that a fan base like Miami, where it is clearly an instant gratification, that we need at quarterback right now?
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know if we deserve it. I don't know if the Floridians deserve it, really. I don't think Miami Dolphin fans deserve, the demeanor and the poise and the maturity and just who Tua is. But it's okay. We're gonna have to accept it because he's gonna win his football games. Hopefully he rubs off on Miami as a whole because Lord knows we need it here.
DVP,
we're a tough fan base, man.
I know, but a little, a little too tough on this kid, man, because I posed this question publicly and I'm still waiting for someone to answer. Name a quarterback in the AFC East in the last 10 years that's had a better rookie season than he did. And by your standards, he did it at 60% and with a weak hip. And
did you see the Bills Mafia tearing down Josh Allen last year?
Yeah.
Rookie year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, guess what? We're going to be the guys that are loving Tua, just like the Bills Mafia are loving Josh Allen this year.
Yeah.
Same thing. They put weapons around him. They gave him 1 year to get comfortable. And guess what? The dude lit it up.
Yep. Agreed. Which area do you think fans will notice the big improvement in Tua's game this year when the season starts? Because, I mean, DVP talked about how he noticed the mechanics, the footwork, and the ball getting out faster this offseason. What area do you think is going to pop out to Dolphin fans and the ones who have their doubts when they sit down on their couch, open their bag of Doritos, and watch him on the first Sunday, that they're going to be like, oh, I didn't see that last year from this kid?
I think command and comfortability. Him just taking command and running the show, whether it's in the huddle, out of the huddle, at the line of scrimmage, during a drive, on the sideline. I think that he took the backseat last year just because mentally he wasn't there because of his physical ailments. But he also knew that Fitzpatrick was the guy. He was the guy. He was the guy. He was the vet. He was the one that knew everything and was fun loving, and people gravitated towards him. But I think Tua now knows that it's his team, it's his year. And you're gonna see it. You're gonna see a different type of Tua. I saw him change over the course of 4 months, and it wasn't just the beard that he grew. It was just his confidence, his demeanor, and then him being around his teammates. But I think that's the one thing that's really gonna stick out to people. He's gonna look like a different kid from a control standpoint.
Can't wait, brother. Hey,
same
beard gang, brother. Beard gang,
baby.
And you should have seen. I actually grew out a big beard. I look like Moses, and the whole thing was leading up to the 2019 draft. I grew a beard, saying I'm not going to shave it till we draft Tua Tagovailoa.
Are you kidding me?
I swear to God, you go back, I look like Moses, brother. My wife was like, there's birds nesting in that thing. Get rid of it. We got 503 people in the room right now. Go ahead and smash that button, man. Nick, I think Tua Tagovailoa, I said this to you backstage, I've said it publicly. I think Tua can be Brady-esque in terms of his ceiling because he's so elite from the neck up. Like, you just do not see, I call him the cerebral assassin. You don't see guys like that very much. Do you think that's a fair assessment from what you've seen firsthand with him so far?
Absolutely. And its accuracy is so similar too. I mean, he just drops the ball wherever he wants to, and if there's anybody that wants to sit there and tell me that that's not him, look at his tape, look at his college tape, and look at the balls that he was threading the needle. Like you grab your head like, oh my God, where are you throwing it? But it goes right through two defenders and hits a guy in the hands and he drops it. I mean, I think that he could be on the same level. Especially with the supporting cast that we're building, and just these draft picks that we've had and future draft picks, and then where the Dolphins front office is going. I mean, why not? Why not us?
Yeah.
Why not him?
Yeah. Why not him? That is the question.
Yeah.
Tua absolutely took Budda Baker's ankles and put him on the shelf last year in the Arizona game, and he wasn't at full capacity health-wise, like you've stated. Do you think people will be surprised by how good of an athlete this kid really is when he's out there on the field this season, juking and jiving?
Yes, I do. I really do. I mean, he didn't run the football much last year, and when he did, like you said, he kind of just bailed out because he wasn't too sure of the personnel in the game or the playbook, if you want to say. But yeah, I think his athleticism is going to be highlighted this year because he can run, he can jump, he can cut, he's got wiggle, he's got shake, and he's strong. I mean, he's super strong. His lower body is just a powerhouse. I don't know if you've seen this guy's calves and his quads.
They're ridiculous.
He's strong. He deadlifts 400 pounds. He's just as strong as an ox. And we've been working on decelerating and working on his footwork and his agility. We've been planning for all these things. So my answer is yeah.
Fins Up Gaming says the key to Tua's improvement is batch cookies. Make
The
sure
key
to
to
check
his
them
improvement
out.
is batch cookies. Make sure to check them out. Tell Nick AJ says what's up. Let's go, AJ. Yeah.
And we're definitely
Love
going to
it.
get you to plug that because, man,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there looking at. I'm not even joking to you. We're planning our because restrictions are getting lifted out here
Yeah.
soon in Canada, and I'll be
Yeah.
coming out in October for probably the Falcons game. And I
Let's
was showing
go.
my wife, and I was like, we gotta go hit this place up. Like I need to try
Batch
these
Cookies is the
cookies.
place, man. I'm telling you, we're opening our next location. Our grand opening, it's open right now, but our grand opening is June 19th. So if you're in the Plantation, Fort Lauderdale, Broward County area, you've got to come. A lot of my NFL guys are going to come out there and make an appearance. Who knows? Tua might be there. We'll see. Just
That's
giving
amazing.
you guys a heads up. Giving you a heads up.
Yo, what's your recommendation on what the best cookie on that menu
The best
is?
cookie in the menu is all the cookies on the menu. Reason, come on, man. But no, I would say we have the greatest chocolate chip cookie of all time. It's decadent. It's thoughtful. It's just looks amazing too. But then we have other cookies on the menu that are pretty crazy. We've got an iced oatmeal. We used to have a cookies and cream, which is like a double dark chocolate dough. Yeah, with like a homemade Oreo cream cheese filling. But we yeah, man, we do a really nice job. But the craziest thing, all right, that you'll see in the menu is actually going to be at the grand opening. It's called the Dough Nookie. So it's our chocolate chip cookie, our classic chocolate chip cookie, inside of a glazed donut. Dude, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
And we only drop it once a year, or for a grand opening. So, I mean, if that doesn't get you out on June 19th, this Saturday, which is crazy. I can't believe it's this Saturday. We'll be open at noon, so come on by. I'd get there early if I want to get the donut because we're going to make a limited supply. But, yeah, come on by, guys. It's going to be a good time.
Even that blueberry cookie looked absolutely
The
fuego.
blueberry lemon swirl is one of my favorites,
Oh my
man.
God.
It is so good. It's got a blueberry compote in it, which is like basically just chunks of blueberries and blueberry jam. It's ridiculous, man.
Oh, man.
And it's vegan and gluten free.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yo, guys, I don't have the power because I'm in Canada, but if I was, I would be down there on Saturday at like 8 a.m. banging on the door.
Come, man.
Y'all better be out there, okay? And go follow them on Instagram, Batch Cookies Co.
Yeah, Batch Cookie Co. on Instagram. Gotta follow us.
Go check them out. I don't know if you saw Cam Wolf's article today, Nick, but Dan Marino was quoted as saying in regards to Tua, he's been great, he's been awesome, he has all the talent in the world. What do you say to those who want to move off him after only 9 games? Where, to be honest, like I said, I keep telling doubters to name a better rookie season for an AFC's quarterback in the last decade than Tua did, and now you got the GOAT when it comes to arguably quarterback of all time. Coming out and saying that, he has all the talent in the world. I mean, is that something that these doubters should really seriously be taking to heart and listening to?
It's so funny because I guarantee all of the Tua doubters are Dan Marino, obsessors.
Yeah.
So because Dan Marino is obviously different than Tua. Righty, cannon of an arm, not mobile at all. You know what I mean? Just a completely different style of football of quarterback. But if your God, Dan Marino, is sitting there saying that Tua, has all the capabilities and all the traits in the world to be a Super Bowl quarterback for the Dolphins, you should probably believe him.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I got a few questions here before I let you go, brother. And again, I appreciate you for taking some time out. Again, we saw Lynn Bowden and Jakeem Grant, taking part in some workouts at your facility. I believe you said Gesicki was out there for one. DVP showed up. Any thoughts on what Dolphin fans can expect from the receivers you worked with this year?
So I'm not going to sit here and take credit and say I worked with, Devontae or Jakeem or Mike or Kirk, or even Malcolm Perry was out there. Yeah, I didn't really get to work with them. Mac was out there all the time. Mac's a good dude. I didn't work out with those guys. Tua arranged workouts with them, and I just provided a field, and he needed some stuff. All right, this is your thing. I let him run that. But I worked one-on-one with Lynn Bowden a lot this year. and Lynn Bowden is one of the best athletes I've ever been around, hands down. It's pretty crazy to watch him do things. He's insanely explosive. He's fast. He's a very quick learner. Remember, he never played the receiver position ever, and he just got thrown in at receiver last year. And he did a lot of fun things with the football, and he wasn't in great shape last year. I think that the whole Raiders situation kind of got him a little down in the dumps, and he kind of lost himself a little bit. So when he came to Miami, it was like more like a resurgence of Lynn Bowden. And, he had contacted me this offseason. He was looking for a place to do wide receiver training. And I do everything, by the way. I do receivers, I do quarterbacks, I do running backs. I do everything but offensive and defensive line. That's not my steez. I don't really do stuff like that. But everything else, DBs, tight end, so on and so forth. So he reached out to me and he wanted to do some one-on-one personal training for receiver stuff, route running, releases, stuff like that. So I worked a lot with Lynn this year, and I'm very excited to watch him play. And him and Tua got together on multiple occasions as well to talk playbook and kind of go over schemes and stuff like that. So, you can really see a lot of the guys putting the work in this offseason, and it's exciting. Another guy on the roster that I've been working with since he was in 8th grade is Jordan Scarlett, which many of the fans may not know who he is. He's a running back that we picked up in a futures contract. And he's been doing very, very, very well from what I've heard from Tua and other guys. He drafted to the Panthers, and then he sat out last year during the pandemic because he had a baby, and his wife wanted him to kind of stay at home with the family. And obviously there was a lot of unknowns. But he got picked up with the Dolphins. Man, he's been with me again since the 8th grade, which is such a long time. So. I have a feeling that he's going to make a really big impact on that team this year, whether it's in the backfield or whether it's on special teams. I mean, the kid is big, strong, fast, and he's been working his butt off like no other, man. So look up Jordan Scarlett, guys, and keep your eye on him this year.
Yeah. I got to ask you, are people underselling, because you've heard it before he came here, now you've worked with him, are people really underselling to his arm strength?
Yeah, because, again, he throws the ball as hard as he needs to. He throws it as far as he needs to. You don't need to throw an 18-yard comeback as hard as you can if you get rid of it early and on a dime. You don't need to. You know what I mean? Look at Peyton Manning. Did Peyton Manning ever throw a spiral in his whole career? Probably not. But everyone in the damn Fins thing on Facebook is like, oh, look at that. Not another spiral. Oh, here we go. Still can't throw it. It doesn't matter if you throw a spiral or not. If it gets there and it's completed and it's not intercepted, that's a good pass, guys. I mean, Tua is accurate. Tua is very accurate. You don't have to throw the football as hard as you can. I bet, if you ask his wide receivers, hey, do you wish Tua threw the ball harder? They'd probably say no. They don't want to catch 90-mile-an-hour fastballs. They want to catch a nice catchable ball that spins nice and easy and hits them right in the hands. They don't want somebody like Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson who just throws it as hard as they could all the time at a weird downward spiral that's very almost uncatchable. So, that's for all the people that said, oh, his arm's not strong enough. Oh, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous statement. Not everyone can be Pat Mahomes, guys.
Agreed. Adam Beasley in the Miami Herald reported Tua hired and worked with quarterback coach Wes Carroll, but I've actually heard privately and was told privately that was not the case. Can you confirm if this is true?
Yeah, so Wes Carroll actually works for my gym. He has his own company called QBP, and he works in unison with us for NFL Combine Prep, NFL Offseason, and then also does a lot of our quarterback specific stuff. So Wes did work with Tua this offseason, but I wouldn't say that Tua reached out and hired him.
Yeah,
that's definitely not the case. I introduced Wes to Tua, and they developed a relationship, and Wes worked with Tua a lot this offseason.
Okay, good. All right. Yeah. Tua obviously isn't the only elite athlete you've worked with. You've said, and I've seen you put in work with J.K. Dobbins, Dalvin Cooks, Devin Singletary. Kudos to you for working with a Buffalo Bill and many more.
Dude, I trained the entire Buffalo Bills backfield.
That's crazy, bro.
That's
nuts.
I'm kidding.
In your opinion, what do you think separates what you guys are doing at Per4orm from the rest of the pack in terms of training and player developmental companies?
It's a good question. I think that what we do better than anyone else, not only in South Florida, but the country, is we individualize programs for specific guys. Like if somebody needs like a program, Tua needs a program, I'm going to go to Tua's house and do what I need to do to help Tua out. I'm not going to say, oh man, our NFL group goes from 9 to 11. And, if you want to get with us, come get with us, because that's literally how majority of these programs are. And when you do go to these other gyms and these other facilities, all the guys are doing the same things. Running backs, receivers, defensive line, offensive line, quarterbacks, tight ends, they're doing the same stuff. Even though that their positions, the necessity is different for each position. So what we do great is that, man, we really break things down to not only just the position, but also the person and what their needs assessment is. Lynn Bowden said he caught, and this is not even a joke or an exaggeration, he called 3 facilities in South Florida before he called me, asking to do receiver specific stuff. And they all said, we don't do that. Wow. which is crazy to me. And then it just so happened, Lynn called me and he realized, oh, you train X, Y, and Z. Oh man, I'm so glad this worked out perfectly. Everything happens for a reason, so on and so forth. So, us just being able to break things down, per guy for the guy, I think it really separates us.
Man, that I've already taken up about an hour and 12 minutes of your time.
You're good.
I appreciate it, man. Fins says perform over a house of athlete.
Hey, I didn't say it, but I would agree. You know what? Here's the thing. HOA got great trainers over there, amazing facility, but obviously I'm gonna take perform over them. I am perform, right? So
let me I want to take you out of the trainer shoes for a second.
Yeah.
Here. In your heart of hearts, you've seen a lot of the offense. Do you see them catching up sooner rather than later to where the defense is at? And B, do you see an AFC championship in the next few years coming to Miami at minimum?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the offense is going to be very explosive this year. I think a lot of our fans are not happy with the running backfield, if you may. But dude, Miles is a baller. Savon's a baller. Jordan is a baller. All those guys. I worked with Savon twice this offseason. Actually, he was full week. And I was very impressed with the way he moves and his repertoire of cuts and his speed and his explosiveness. So I think that if we can get our offensive line on the same page with everybody and really have them work as a unit, I've always been taught that, there's 5 guys in the offensive line, right? But when they're all together, they're a fist, and a fist is way stronger than each one of my fingers. You know what I mean? So if our offensive line can work as a fist, then we're going to be okay, because we've got the weapons, we've got the running backs, we've got the quarterback, we've got the defense, and we've got one of the best special teams units. Yeah, I think that we can definitely win an AFC championship in the next couple of years. 100%.
That's awesome. I appreciate you for coming on, brother.
No doubt, man.
Go ahead and, do your plugs for Per4orm, drop your Instagram for everyone, and talk a little bit more about Batch for everyone. Just replug that for everyone.
Yeah, man. So first Per4orm is at Per4orm, and it's PR4ORM. Reason if you could put, the link on there or whatever, that'd be great. I don't know how that works.
The Twitter? You want me to put the Twitter up for you?
Use the Twitter too. I don't use my personal Twitter, so don't even worry about that. But yeah, you can put Per4orm's Twitter up there. And then it's the same. Twitter is the same as Instagram. And then my Instagram is Notorious Nick Hicks. And then the cookie shop is Batch Cookie Co. And again, we are having our grand opening for Batch this Saturday. We open the doors at noon, but I'd get there early so you can get a place in line for to get the dough nookie. Also, if you follow Batch now, we're doing a lot of giveaways for the next 5 days. And we're giving away free dough nookies as well as skipping the lines. You don't got to get there early. So follow Batch, and hopefully we'll see you out there Saturday. If you're in the Fort Lauderdale area, we've already got a location open, Flagler Village. So stop on by there. We're actually, today's Monday. Today Monday?
Yeah, today's Monday.
Yeah, so we're not open today because today is Monday. That is the day we prep, but we'll be open back tomorrow.
Man, again, I appreciate you for coming on and taking some
No
time out.
doubt, man. This was a great time. If you ever want me back on again, just let me know.
Of course, man. And man, I'm October when I'm coming down there.
Yeah.
I'm coming to see you on the field, and I'm coming to see you at
I
Batch
would
Cookie
love that,
Company,
man.
brother.
Excited,
All right?
man. I'm excited.
Appreciate you. And guys,
No doubt, dude.
I'll be back tomorrow night with my prospect preview of newly drafted running back Jared Dokes. We'll look at some all-22 film, and I'll give you guys an in-depth scouting report and evaluation on the player. Until tomorrow, guys, it's Fins Up all day, every day. Stay happy, healthy, safe, and blessed. And again, thank you so much to Nick
No
Hicks
doubt,
for
man.
coming on tonight.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, my guy.